The story takes place in Arizona in the year 1882. At that time, it was very dangerous to live. There wasn't enough food, diseases spread super fast, and each passing day was a battle just to survive. Only the bravest and strongest people could endure difficult moments like these. In the small town, everyone who lived there gathered together, anxiously waiting for some entertainment. One of the guys from the confrontation had already arrived, and everyone was waiting for the second man. The second guy, Albert Stark, appears running from a corner, but slips and falls to the ground. But he gets up quickly and looks right in the face of whoever was waiting for him. The man tells him to grab his pistol and have a duel, but young Albert gets nervous and tries to resolve the fight just by talking. He says he can sell some of his sheep and pay for the damages since his animals had eaten someone else's pasture. The guy accepts the proposal, but gives only 2 days to resolve everything, otherwise he'll kill Albert, and he shoots Stark in the leg to prove he's telling the truth. Hey, what would you do if you lived in a town where every day someone dies terribly and you could be next? The movie I'm going to summarize is called A Million Ways to Die in the West. It's an American film that combines comedy with Western. It's one of the funniest comedies about how difficult it was to live in the Old West. It's a movie that doesn't look like much, but it's very good. That's why I invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave a like to receive the best recaps. After that, Albert sits by the lake with his girlfriend Louise, talking about the concerns he has about the duel. But Louise cuts off the subject and says their relationship has come to an end. Even though they've been together for a whole year, she needs something different in life. Albert doesn't accept her choice at all, but Louise says Albert is weak and isn't good at anything, and leaves. At the town bar, men and women are having fun. A man sits in a chair holding some flowers, waiting for his girlfriend to finish her hard work. The manager asks Edward if he minds his girlfriend Ruth having intimacy with 15 clients per day in exchange for money. He says it's okay because he also has a difficult job. At this moment, Ruth comes out of the room. She sees Eddie and runs all excited to him. After a hug, they leave the place, but halfway there the manager shouts, reminding Ruth that she has one more client that night. While this happens, Albert returns home to his sheep farm. When he gets close to home, he sees one of his sheep on top of the roof. That night, Eddie and Ruth pay Albert a visit because they heard about Louise. Albert shows them pictures of his beloved, which are very beautiful, and he gets sad because he can't smile in photographs. He loves his girlfriend very much and doesn't understand what he did wrong. He was ready to do anything for her. To get this out of his head, Eddie calls him to go out for drinks. They sit at the bar, and Albert tries to convince his friends that they live in the worst place at the worst possible time. Everything here wants to finish them off. The drink, the bandits, the dangerous women of the night, hungry animals, diseases, large and small wounds, Indians, the weather. Even going to the bathroom is dangerous because poisonous snakes are around. But even if they manage to escape all of this, they'll surely be killed by the doctor. The priest himself has already killed 2 people, one in a duel and the other was his own son, so he wouldn't let him grow up and seek revenge later. He told this in one of his sermons. Albert then points to 3 men who work in a silver mine. They're eating ribs with very strong pepper because they can no longer taste anything. This food causes constipation, stomach pains, digestion problems, kidneys and liver that stop functioning, hemorrhoids and intestinal inflammation. These people can die just from farting. At this moment, one of the men gets up, farts and drops dead. But if that's not enough to convince his friends, they can always go out the door. Going out, Albert points to a body thrown nearby. This is the measure of their lives. The body has been there for 3 days, and nobody bothered to remove it, find out how he died, or move it elsewhere. Right after Albert says this, wolves arrive at the body and drag it away. Returning to the table, Albert finishes complaining about the horrible and dirty American West. But the people who are listening don't like his words, and literally throw him through the window. Sitting on the bar steps, Ruth tries to clean a wound, but Albert won't let her. Seeing how he is, she suggests he go talk to Louise. Albert, thinking it's a great idea, goes drunk to her house. When he knocks on the door, Louise opens it. Seeing how intoxicated he is, she doesn't want to talk to him. She pushes him away and slams the door right in his face. In the desert, an old man is driving a wagon with his dog, Plugger. He talks to the dog and spins a piece of gold in his hand. Suddenly, men mounted on horses appear in front. Hiding the gold, he stops the wagon. The travelers ask if he knows how to get to Sherman Creek. He gladly agrees to help, but when he's about to leave, the group leader stops him, suspecting he has gold. At first, the old man denies it, but in the end decides to hand over what he has. But Clinch Leatherwood, the chief, insists on a duel. The old man accepts reluctantly. The bandit starts counting and, at number 2, shoots the old man, killing him. The girl who was riding with Clinch gets angry, not understanding why he had to kill the man when he was going to hand everything over anyway. Clinch grabs her by the neck and tells her never to argue with him in front of his men. A wife has to respect her husband. Looking at the map, Clinch decides that Lewis and Anna will go to the town of Old Stump, and they'll meet in about 2 weeks. Mounting their horses, the group rides in different directions. But before leaving, Anna sees the dog and decides to take him along. Meanwhile, Albert gets up from bed at 3 in the afternoon. Going to the bathroom, he opens the door and finds Eddie. His friend is worried because Albert stayed home all day. Albert tells his friend that the situation isn't quite like that. He explains that on Tuesday, he went to Charlie Blanche's house and paid everything he owed him. But Eddie isn't referring just to that. He knows very well that Albert has been having problems, and on top of that, it's been 2 weeks since he sheared the sheep's wool. Albert counters, saying it's very easy for Eddie to say these things because every day when he comes home he has a girlfriend who likes him a lot, and the two have a lot of fun together. But Eddie interrupts him, saying that he and Ruth haven't had intimate relations yet. They're both very religious people and want to remain pure until their wedding day. Albert is quite surprised by this and starts thinking that maybe his life isn't as difficult as he imagined. When they decide to go to town, Eddie and Albert are walking down the street and end up seeing Louise hugging and kissing her new boyfriend, Foy. Seeing his former girlfriend with another man, Albert gets very disturbed, but is taken from his thoughts by Eddie, who shows that ice has arrived in town. The two approach to see how they're unloading everything at the warehouse. Out of nowhere, one of the ropes that was holding breaks, and a giant piece of ice falls right on the head of James Addison, who was one of the men working there. The two friends decide to go to church. The pastor gives his sermon, talking about the worker who died during work with the ice, and says that the townspeople will remember him whenever they drink something cold. When the service ends, he introduces the town's new residents, Louis Barnes and his sister Anna, who arrived recently and want to set up a farm here. Louise goes to visit her boyfriend Foy's store. Since the town festival is coming, she says they can go and she wants to buy a new dress. At this moment, Albert enters the store. Foy asks what he's doing there, since the store only sells things for beard care, and Albert doesn't have any beard. Albert responds that he wants to grow one. Then he accuses Foy of stealing his woman, but Foy insists she left because she wanted to. He's just a sheep herder with no money and has nothing to offer her. During the night, Anna and Louis go to the town bar, where Eddie and Ruth also appear. Eddie tells Ruth he loves her very much, saying they've been together for quite a while and he thinks it's time for them to spend a night together. Ruth doesn't agree, saying they're Christians, and God wouldn't like it if they had relations before getting married. While the two talk, Albert approaches, saying he's tired of everything and is thinking of going to San Francisco. At this moment, Louis is drinking at the counter when another man bumps into him, causing a commotion. Without thinking twice, Louis shoots the man, and a huge fight starts in the bar. Albert and Eddie step away and do a funny reenactment of a fist fight, so nobody tries to hit them. At one point, Albert sees that some people are about to fall on Anna and runs to help her. He pushes her away, saving her from danger. The young man and woman introduce themselves. Anna tells about the farm plans, while Albert talks about Louise. Suddenly, they see a rattlesnake, staying completely still and talking only by moving their lips. The girl suggests they go together to the party to make Louise jealous. On the day of the party, Albert and Anna arrive together. Anna is very excited to take a picture, because she's never done it in her life. They find a photographer and get in line. While watching other people being photographed, Anna comments about a person who smiled in their picture. But the young man doesn't believe her, and she also thinks it might just be a made-up story. Out of nowhere, the flash explodes along with the photographer, and the fire spreads to the people who were being photographed, killing them. Albert complains that this happens every year. Someone always dies at the party. As they continue walking, they encounter Louise and Foy. A verbal argument starts between the two couples, and Anna suggests they go to the shooting gallery. Foy accepts immediately. Foy shoots first, hitting all the targets with great skill. Albert goes next, but misses everything and loses 6 cents. Seeing that, Anna proposes a bet. If she hits all the targets in Albert's place, Foy will give her $1. The people watching are breathless because nobody has ever seen a real dollar. Foy accepts the bet. Anna takes a pistol in each hand, asks for the targets to move at the fastest speed, and hits each one of them perfectly. Very angry, Foy hands over the money, taking the opportunity to mock Albert. Filled with rage, Albert challenges Foy to a duel the next day. Anna interferes, suggesting they postpone it, maybe for a week from now. Everyone agrees with this. As soon as the couple leaves, Albert realizes what he just did. He admits to Anna that he doesn't know how to shoot, but she promises she'll teach him. The next day, the friends go to the desert. The girl asks Albert what he saw in Louise, saying she seemed evil and selfish. Albert describes Louise as an incredible person, fun, caring, and smart, and a good sheep herder, even though he thinks differently. After this conversation, Anna starts training Albert, but he has a lot of difficulty and can't hit the target even from close up. By the end of the week, he finally starts understanding the basics of how to shoot. In the prison, the sheriff brings dinner to Lewis. Pretending to be asleep, Lewis attacks and kills the sheriff as soon as he puts down the food. Meanwhile, Albert and Anna arrive at the dance. Anna is wearing a very beautiful dress, but it turns out this isn't the right outfit to wear here. Albert worries, thinking it might be his last night, but Anna calms him and asks him to trust her. They're seen by Foy and Louise. Foy goes to the singer and requests a song. Everyone starts dancing, but Albert is pushed off the dance floor. Anna makes a proposal to Albert. How about they get a bottle of alcohol and get out of there? Albert accepts the idea immediately. She goes to get the bottle along with 2 glasses, puts some substance in one of them, and walks to where Foy and Louise are. Anna serves the drinks in the glasses and proposes a drinking game. Foy doesn't waste time and drinks everything at once. Happy with the result, Anna says exactly what she thinks about Louise before returning to Albert. The two go to the farm, where they spend time drinking and chatting. Albert shows gratitude to Anna for having confidence in him and takes her to meet the sheep Bridget, who carries something special for Anna on her back. When she opens the package, she discovers a photo of Albert with a big smile. Overjoyed, she kisses Albert. A bit awkward, Anna decides it's time to go home, and Albert decides to accompany her to the entrance. They exchange another kiss right in front of the door, but this time, Lewis is watching everything. Foy and Louise are lying in bed. Louise pleads for Foy to give up the confrontation, but he doesn't accept and tells her to get to work. She starts stimulating him with her mouth, while Foy touches himself and imagines things. The moment is cut short by Foy's stomach starting to churn, and he runs to the bathroom. When dawn breaks, Anna gets ready to support Albert in the duel. Someone knocks on the door, and when she goes to open it, she finds Clinch standing there. Meanwhile, all the townspeople gather on Main Street. Albert stands in the middle, waiting for whoever is going to face him. After a while, Foy appears, but he looks very bad and can barely stand. When he reaches the spot, he can't take it anymore, grabs someone's hat who was watching and relieves himself loudly inside it. After emptying everything he had in his intestines, he returns to the center of the street. But Albert no longer wants to shoot him. He doesn't want to fight over Louise anymore and turns to Anna, saying she's important to him. But love needs 2 people. If she's better with Foy, then that's fine. After the duel, Albert goes to the hotel room where Anna is staying, but doesn't find her there. He goes to the bar and tells Eddie and Ruth that Anna disappeared. At this moment, Clinch enters the establishment, looking for the man who kissed his wife Anna that night. He asks questions to a customer, shoots him, and warns that the responsible party has until noon the next day to appear on Main Street. With that, Clinch and his group leave the bar, taking Anna with them. Clinch gives instructions to his accomplices while staying alone with his wife. He forces Anna to tell who her lover was. She only confesses after he threatens to hurt her little dog. When he discovers it was Albert Stark, he kisses his wife and tries to be intimate, but Anna won't accept this. So, quietly grabbing a stone, she hits her husband's head. Meanwhile, Albert is packing his things. He sees Anna arriving on horseback through the window. She says he needs to leave right now because Clinch discovered it was him who was with her. Albert gets angry because Anna hid who her husband was. but she explains she didn't want to scare him and that she likes him a lot. She also tells that she got married at 9 years old and didn't want to be single at 15. During their argument, Clinch and his group arrive at the house. Albert tells Anna to go out the back and follow the path that leads to the mountains. Before leaving, Anna warns him that her husband shoots when he counts to 2. When he arrives at the farm, Clinch sends his men to look for Albert. They mess up everything in the house and barn, but find nothing. At this moment, Albert is hiding among his sheep. Waiting for the bandits to get distracted, he leaves quietly, mounts a horse, and rides away. Clinch shoots at him several times, but doesn't hit him. The whole group goes after him. At one point, they almost catch Albert, but he manages to get past a train. When the train moves out of the way, Clinch sees that Albert and his horse jumped into one of the cars, but he's sure Albert will come back. After getting off the train, Albert continues through the desert. He gets off his horse and prepares to set up camp, but before he can even light a fire, a stone hits him in the head, making him fall. In town, Ruth decides to be intimate with Eddie. Thinking that Clinch Leatherwood is in town and they might all die tomorrow, she imagines God might forgive them. Eddie is excited as it's his first night, but their romantic night is interrupted by someone knocking on the door. When they open it, they find Anna at the entrance, saying her husband is looking for her. Anna looks through the window and sees Clinch at the bottom of the stairs. Coming up, Ruth goes back to bed with Eddie, and at this moment, their door almost opens. At the door are Lewis and the girl, who asks them not to kill them on their first night together. Anna's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Anna, having escaped through the window, jumps and falls directly into Clinch's arms. Meanwhile, Albert is coming to, surrounded by Native Americans and tied to a stake. They're preparing to burn him, but the young man knows their language and asks them not to kill him. Surprised, they stop the execution. After untying him, they invite him near the fire and listen to his story. Albert doesn't know what to do now, and the chief suggests he drink a special beverage. At first, Albert doesn't want to because drugs aren't good for him and he starts seeing things. But the chief promises everything will be fine. Gathering courage, Albert drinks the potion all at once, only to discover the amount was for the entire tribe. Albert enters a drug-induced hallucination. He remembers his early life, discovering there was no tooth fairy and a fake Abraham Lincoln at his graduation. He remembers trying to impress Louise by taming wild horses, only to be chased by a group of very short people. While fleeing, he ends up in a magical field. In the place, Anna tells Louise that she can't see properly despite having several eyes scattered all over her face. Louise moves and Albert can see her giant eyes. Overcome by fear, he starts screaming in desperation, but a strange voice calls him. When he turns around, he observes sheep wearing fake mustaches and funny hats that are singing and moving to the rhythm of music. Out of nowhere, a door falls from the sky right behind him, and a mysterious voice warns that they are the guardians of tomorrow. If he has enough courage, he needs to go through that door. Gathering all his courage, Albert pushes the door and finds Anna wearing a beautiful white wedding dress. However, when he crosses to the other side, the image completely disappears. In its place appears a giant and frightening bird with Clinch's face that attacks him. After defeating the creature, Albert returns to normal. The tribe leader says that in the vision, Albert fought and defeated a black condor. This means he has real courage inside him. He just needs to trust in his own bravery to achieve his happiness. When the sun rises, the entire tribe says goodbye to Albert. He thanks them for all the help received, but the chief responds that his people have a special saying. Sometimes all a person needs to be happy is to drink together with others a beverage with magical powers. Clinch, keeping Anna as prisoner, waits for Albert on the town's main street. And naturally, Albert shows up there. The townspeople hide, watching the meeting of the two. Ordering his henchmen to take Anna away, the bandit accuses Albert of getting involved with his wife. Albert denies everything and suggests resolving the situation through a duel. Clinch, laughing, accepts the proposal. The two grab their revolvers. The leader starts counting backwards, but Albert, remembering that Clinch always shoots on 2, decides to shoot first on 1. He hits Clinch in the shoulder. Clinch responds by shooting Albert's gun, making it fly far from his hand. Seeing that his death is approaching, Albert asks to speak his last words. He asks for Anna to be released, saying she did nothing wrong. and that it was he himself who kissed her. He also wants to sing a farewell song from the Islamic people. At this instant, Clinch starts feeling sick. Albert tells that he put rattlesnake poison on the bullet. He knew he didn't have good aim, but if he could catch Clinch off guard, it would work. For a whole week, he trained basic shooting with Anna and got the poison through the help of the native Indians. But his explanation is cut off by Ruth. She warns that Clinch died and probably didn't hear how Albert tricked him. Anna quickly breaks free from her husband's men and runs toward Albert. Embracing, they kiss passionately. Albert apologizes for having to kill her husband, but she laughs and says there's no problem. They wouldn't have worked out anyway. At this moment, Louise approaches Albert. She invites him to show up during the night, but he responds that it's not necessary. He wants to focus on himself. Hugging Anna tightly, they move away from the crowd. On the way, the girl comments that there will probably be a reward for Clinch and gets curious about where he would spend that money. But Albert hadn't thought about that yet. Albert and Anna on their farm, surrounded by thousands and thousands of sheep, embrace lovingly and exchange a passionate kiss. At the town festival, a carnival worker is shouting for visitors to shoot at escaped slaves. A black man approaches him, draws his revolver and shoots the guy. Saying to hell with this party, he puts his weapon away, and so the story comes to an end. What grade would you give this production? Now you understand why I said it's one of the funniest comedies about the Old West. If you want, I can bring summaries of more films like this. Don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of new recaps. So until the next meeting,